Before you guys start watching this video, make sure you watch the Black Shark 3 video because a lot of the points are the same, but let's get started with the Pro. Now the unboxing experience is exactly the same as the Black Shark 3, so I'm not going to focus a lot on that. That's what the phone looks like. As you guys can see, compared to the Black Shark 3, it's huge. It's a lot bigger, looks like it's bigger, stronger brother, and the screen size is massive compared to the Black Shark 3. It's pretty much bigger than my hand, and gripping it horizontally with this grip is a lot easier than it is vertically with one-handed mode. Now even comparing it to the Black Shark 3, you can see the 3 fit in my hand pretty easily. It was not as big, and getting around the phone was a lot easier. With the Black Shark 3 Pro, however, one-handed use is a lot more difficult, but when you switch over to the Shark mode and you're playing the game, it's a lot easier. Clearly you guys can see the size difference between these two phones. For my hand size, one-handed use was pretty okay. I got away with most of it, as you guys could see in the previous video, but going over to the Pro, this thing is massive. One-handed use is almost impossible. Even reaching the power button makes me readjust my entire hand positioning. But obviously, when you switch over to Shark mode and you're in this way, the bigger the screen, the better. So this screen on this is really great for gaming. And when I'm holding it this way and playing it, I don't even feel like I need a smaller phone because you're so immersed with that massive display. But for one-handed use and for people with smaller hands, this may be a slight inconvenience. In terms of design, they're pretty much exactly the same on all sides. You have the 3.5mm, you have the USB Type-C. However, the difference is on the right side of the phone, where the Pro is Pro for a reason with those triggers. Let's talk about that a little bit later, but first, let's start by setting up the phone. Going into the settings, I'm going to show you guys which version we got. This is the 256GB storage, 8GB of RAM variant running Joy UI 11. Now, since this is a gaming phone, obviously the first thing I'm going to do is install Call of Duty Mobile and change the refresh rate for the screen to 90 Hz. Now going around, it's obviously a lot smoother. This is the same as the Black Shark 3. You guys should check that out. Let's switch over to the Shark space to run the game. As soon as you do so, you're gonna see the triggers pop up when you get into the game, which is what's really great. Watch the triggers right there on the marks. They just pop up mechanically. It's really smooth and seamless. We're gonna move the resolution all the way to the max because that's how we like it. We're gonna go into a game on Rust, enter Shark space. From sliding from the right, go to master control. This is the master touch control where it allows you to configure where you want it. So left trigger for me is aim, right trigger for me is shooting. You just drag and drop. That's how easy it is, and that's how simple it is to get into a game. Now using it in-game feels seamless. Left trigger to zoom in, right trigger to shoot. You can also just hold right trigger to shoot all the way and it zooms in for you. So this is really easy for games like COD. You can also customize which one you want to use when. So if you want to use just one trigger, you can do that in each game, depending on which game you're playing. For things like sniping, it feels exactly like you're playing on console, as you guys can see here. The great thing about this is that the only thing you need to focus on is your aim and not about the shooting, which is really great. So the touch screen becomes the touch screen and all you need to focus on is aiming while the shooting is done with the triggers. It's very seamless, it's very instantaneous, and you don't even feel anything different, and it feels like it's so part of the phone. It feels really great. Now configuring the buttons in the Shark space is really easy to do. All you have to do, as you guys can see on the screen as well, is drag your button icon with the left trigger to right trigger wherever you want it to be. So for me, left trigger is going to be aiming in, right trigger is going to be shooting, which is exactly how it is on a console and the controller. And the touch input and the response rate is so great. So every time you click on it, it does the action on the phone itself with the greatest touch sensing anyway. So you're really good and you're going to be ahead of your game for most games. So every time you get into a game, whether that's from Shark mode or directly from the app itself, it has a little sound that it makes when the triggers pop up, and even when you close it, it makes a sound again. Let's show you what that sounds like getting into the app. You hear that, and then when I close the app, so it's got like a effect. Now I cannot really stress this enough, but both these phones are almost exactly the same. The software that comes on them is the same. The look and feel to them is almost exactly the same, apart from the fact that one is considerably larger than the other. Since we've already done a video on the Black Shark 3, I'm not going to mention the specs here. I'm going to link it up in the cards above and also in the description below. You guys should definitely check that out because the majority of the features that I'm not going to talk about here, I have talked about previously in the Black Shark 3 video. Now moving on to the Black Shark 3 Pro, you have a 7.1-inch 2K large AMOLED screen with 90 Hz in refresh rate. You have the Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 processor. You have 5G support. You have 12GB LPDDR5 RAM or even the 8GB version and 512GB ROM storage. The battery on this is a 5000 massive milliamp hour battery. It has 65 watts in hypercharge. You also get a cooling system 4.0 for the Black Shark. That's their exclusive. It also has 21mm mechanical pop-up trigger buttons that we talked about. The camera on this is exactly the same as that on the Black Shark 3, so check that part out, and you get 90 Hz of refresh rate with 270 Hz touch reporting rate, as I mentioned earlier as well, for people who are actually looking for a proper, legitimate gaming phone that is really hardcore, that allows for customization with triggers attached, where you don't need any externals. The Black Shark 3 Pro is definitely gonna be a win. We have seen smartphones with pop-up cameras, but this is the first smartphone with a pop-up trigger. 2 pop-up triggers. As I mentioned before, the LPDDR4X is the RAM present on the Black Shark 3, while the Black Shark 3 Pro has the LPDDR5 RAM. I'm not going to go very much into detail between the differences between the two. However, what I can tell you is that the LPDDR5 on the Black Shark 3 Pro is going to offer better data rate improvement and also 30% more power efficiency over the LPDDR4X. So to save all of you guys' time, I'm just gonna let you know right away, there isn't that much difference between the Black Shark 3 and the Black Shark 3 Pro. The main differences, however, are gonna lie with the master triggers on the Pro. So it has the mechanical triggers popping up, the Black Shark 3 does not. This has an LPDDR4X, while this has an LPDDR5. That's top of the line right now, and this is ridiculously fast with reading and writing speeds as well. The battery on the Black Shark 3 is a 4720 mAh battery, while the battery on the Black Shark 3 Pro is a 5000 mAh battery, so slightly bigger there. Speaking of bigger, 6.67-inch display versus a 7.1-inch display. This display is massive compared to this one, as you guys have clearly seen in the video, and also the refresh rate is exactly the same. And lastly, if it isn't very obvious, they're both priced very differently. So to sum it up, if you want the bigger, badder, stronger one, you're gonna go for the Pro. If you want all the same specs as this, minus the triggers and a little bit of RAM power, you're gonna go for the Black Shark 3. Performance-wise, they're both exactly the same. You both have the Snapdragon 865 processor. So that's about it, guys. That is our review for the Black Shark 3 Pro. Very, very similar to the Black Shark 3 with a few major differences. So really hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, make sure to hit that like button and do consider subscribing for more content just like this. And we'll see you again in the next video.